comes after reports that Cousins spoke with DeRozan about possibly joining the Spurs. Cousins, of course, coming off 2 major injuries, that torn Achilles and a torn quad. He only played in 30 regular season games. Skip, decision time. Would you want Boogie on your Spurs squad?
Oh, would you? Yeah, would you?
I would love him. I would welcome him. I will help recruit him if they need me to. It's probably unrealistic because they're already cap-strapped and their roster is full, but you could move some things around if he had interest as well as they did, and they should have interest. Anybody who's followed my career knows I have been a huge fan of his since before his draft. I was on record before his draft that featured John Wall, his Kentucky teammate, and I said DeMarcus should be the #1 pick in that draft, not John Wall. I think I've been right about that because he has averaged, 21 and 11 in his career. Since his rookie year, he is the only man in the NBA to average 20 and 10 with a minimum of 550 games. You got to have a minimum.
Right.
Okay. But the point is, the biggest shock to me through free agency over the last, what are we into, day 6, and I've told our producers this 2 or 3 times because I kept pushing to do this topic before now. Why hasn't somebody jumped on him? I really thought he'd get your basic $15 million, some sort of middle.
Considering what you've seen some of the other guys get on a one-year deal.
And what did we see in the finals? We saw flashes of brilliance. Glimpses, just glimpses. But we go back to game 2. Remember, he goes 11, 10, and 6 in the win at Toronto.
Correct.
Were we not stunned by that? Maybe we shouldn't have been because that's just old DeMarcus, right? Then game 5, we saw 14 and 6 in 20 minutes. In game 6, we saw 12 and 5 in 19 minutes. And we saw him for the year shoot 35% from 3, and he was 36 from 3 the year before. And I know our friend Chris Broussard always says he closes his eyes when DeMarcus starts to pull up from 3, but he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a decent enough.
He's adequate.
He's adequate enough to cause you problems.
Yeah.
Because he's not 7 feet tall. What would you call him? Like 6'11".
You just can't leave him unguarded like Draymond.
Can't. Plus, he is a moose, man. Yeah. He's got shoulders. He causes problems down low because he's got soft hands. And by the way, one thing Greg Popovich is most valued is a center who can pass the basketball. Can he pass it?
Yes.
You better believe he can pass it. So I look at this and I say, there's an old NBA theory that I've heard for years, and I'm pretty sure it originated with the Spurs. And it's called the one knucklehead theory. And the theory goes that you can win in the NBA, in the sport of basketball, with one knucklehead, but you can't win with 2.
Right.
Okay, can DeMarcus be knuckleheaded occasionally?
Yeah.
Yes, he can. Do I think his heart is in the right place? I do. Now, you covered him, and I know him a little bit. I've sat with him one time and talked with him. I just think, can he be a little wacky sometimes? Does he have maybe one screw loose occasionally? Does he get over-emotional and just go completely over the edge?
Yes.
Yes. Does he think the world's out to get him, the referees? Yes, he does. Yet, did I see growth last year? Did I see humility? Because he's been humbled because of his injuries. Because not only did he come off the Achilles, then he tore his quad. He didn't rupture his quad, but he tore it.
Right.
Did that make him grow up a little bit? Did Golden State help him grow a little bit?
I believe so.
Okay, so if you add him to what has already been added back to the Spurs, because DeJounte Murray is going to be one of the best point guards in basketball, and he wrecked his knee in the preseason last year, so I'm assuming he's going to be full speed coming back. They just went and got DeMarre Carroll, who's an excellent wing defender as well as a three-point shooter. So, again, they're already a very deep team, and they did get Jakob Poeltl, who played really big for them last year in the playoffs. Okay, but again, if you put DeMarcus in that mix with the depth that they have, and they got DeMar, and they got, obviously, LaMarcus and Rudy Gay, and I can keep going down the Patty Mills and Marco Bellinelli and Bryn Forbes. They got a lot of shooters. They got depth.
And they got, Bertans.
Well, he led the NBA in three-point shooting until the last month of the season in percentage. He just did, because he can really stroke it, and he's about 6'10", okay? So you go all the way to the bottom of the bench in quality depth, and you put him in there. He's got superstar ability to me. So would I love it? Yes. Could Greg Popovich deal with him? I believe that he could, because we've seen Pop take shots before. Our man Steven Jackson, he took a shot with Steven, and Stephen could be a little knuckleheaded and a little hard to deal with.
Yep.
And so he took 2 shots with him. The first time around, they won a championship in '03 with Stephen on that team and with a major contribution from him. Then they took another shot in 12 and 13. Didn't quite work out, and Stephen started great about his minutes and thought that he should play more minutes than Manu, and you can't do that on that organization. And that was the end of that deal. But he took the chance with Stephen, who had the reputation that was kind of in the DeMarcus category. So would I love to? Yes, I would. And if I can help, Spurs, I'm here to help because I believe this would be tremendous for this team.
You know what, Skip? I believe the Spurs is one of the organizations that could deal with this young man. It's kind of like...
And he still is a young man. Go ahead.
Yeah. Kind of like Golden State. Everybody can't handle Boogie. And I believe the Spurs, the way the culture is in that organization, I believe they're equipped. But you must understand, Skip, he is supremely skilled. The last 6 years before the injury, he was 25 and 12. You says he's 21 and 11 basically for his career. Boogie was always a under the rim player. He didn't play above the rim.
I agree.
But now the injuries have kind of robbed him of what lift that he did have. So now he's kind of a grounded player. Skip, the guy could give you 40 and 20. Easy, without blinking an eye. Before he got injured, we thought, okay, who's a better big man? Him, Anthony Davis, or Joel Embiid? But the injury, Skip, has forced people to look like, okay, and he gave you 16 and 8. 16 and 8 is good if you didn't know what he's capable of doing before the injury.
I agree.
So basically, he's going to have to show that he's rebounded because the injuries are starting to happen with greater frequency, even though he is a young man. So the likelihood of him getting a long-term deal, Skip, he's probably going to be on a 2-year deal moving forward. I'm surprised, but I think people value him. They look at him like an Enes Kanter, $5 million. They look at him like a Robin Lopez, a $5 million. They look at him like that because of his injury history and because, you know, he's still, like you said, he's over-emotional. I mean, he gets a foul. It wasn't a foul. Man, I ain't fouled a guy. Next thing you know, he got a tech and they run him. But I do believe if he were to go to the Spurs, they could channel that energy in a good way and he could be beneficial. But I'm not really surprised, Skip, that he's having because it has to be the right situation. As talented as he is, he can't help everybody in the way that you would think. He needs to go to a stable organization that has some veteran presence and have a very, very, very coach that is entrenched, that's no BS type. That's Pop. They have LaMarcus. They have Rudy Gay. They have DeMar DeRozan. They have guys that have been there. So I think this would be a great fit for them. But if he can stay healthy, but I don't know if he can do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because normally
I don't know either.
Skip, the Achilles normally is not the year after you do it. It's 2 years later that if you're going to return to what you were, this is the time. So he should be a little better. Hopefully he has a chance because he's been rehabbing. It's hard to get better when you rehab as opposed to training. Because rehab, you're just trying to get back to be functional. Train, you get an opportunity to put your body through situations that you're going to encounter in the game.
So it would be great for me if he signed with San Antonio, but I would feel sorry for him in this regard. He obviously deserves more than whatever the minimum they could give him, a couple of $1 million.
Right.
That's all you got for a second straight year? After all you could have been, you look like you're on the path.
He's about to get a monster contract, even though it might not have been in New Orleans. Had he not ruptured his Achilles, Skip, he's going to get a $100 million deal.
$100 million. And it's kind of like Isaiah Thomas, except Isaiah's a mighty mite who's kind of overachieving in Boston, and then he wrecked his hip. And it cost him a whole lot of money. But DeMarcus was maybe the best big man in basketball. I was making the case for a while.
Yeah, since 2010, I think he has the most 25-10 games in the NBA. So, he get 40-20 like it's nothing. 30-20 is a walk in the park. Because he's that skilled, like you said, he can put the ball on the floor. He's great around the rim, decent free throw shooter, can shoot. He got 3-point range now. So he's very difficult. It's just that you look at what we saw and you said glimpses. But when he was healthy, it wasn't no glimpse. No. It was an assault all that game, Boogie give you work.
So it'd be very interesting, even if you do sign number 2 today, and all of a sudden, you got a threat.
I might got a few bucks for him.
You got Utah and you got San Antonio.
I might got Utah. I mean, we mess around and we signed Kawhi. then the floodgates open. So now we can start filling roster spots.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, man, we get that Boogie.
Really?
And plus, Boogie, you can come to Club Shay Shay because I know you be on that. You like that yak because you told me.
Really? Okay.
Me and Boogie.
You do. You've already got Jared Dudley, so that's game over. Right
there you go. Why you do that? Yeah, why you do that, man?
Well, Boogie did just fire his longtime agent.
He did.
Good friend from Kentucky, Andrew Rogers. He signed with Jeff Schwartz from Excel Sports, who's a real mover and shaker in the industry. So if somebody can get something
y'all
done.
know who the mover and shaker is. Who's Skip?
Your man.
Yo, Richie. Oh, clutch.
Not Richie.
All right.
LeBron.
Clutch.
LeBron is clutch.
Well,
Or
Shannon,
he thinks he is.
It is the $1 million question everyone's asking right now.